Please welcome our Mistress of Ceremonies, Executive Director of Fiction Affairs for Author Services, the literary agency of L. Ron Hubbard, Ms. Gunhild Jacobs.
Thank you very much. On behalf of everyone at Author Services and Galaxy Press, the publisher of the Writers of the Future anthology, let me welcome each and every one of you as we pay tribute to the Writers and Illustrators of the Future 2013 contest winners. I want to extend a special acknowledgement to the anchor and backbone of these contests, our blue ribbon panel of judges. It is with their vision of the future and the greatness of their hearts that they contribute to the discovery of the next generation of imaginative storytellers and illustrators. They not only select our winners, but honor those winners in person and annually participate in our workshops, paying forward with their hard-earned experience. The impressive array of past and present judges make the contest what it is today. The Writers of the Future judges are Kevin J. Anderson, Dr. Doug Beeson, Dr. Gregory Benford, Algis Budries, Orson Scott Card, Hal Clement, Eric Flint, Brian Herbert, Frank Herbert, Nina Kiriki Hoffman, Dr. Yodi Kondo, Anne McCaffrey, Todd McCaffrey, Rebecca Mesta, C.L. Moore, Larry Niven, Andre Norton, Frederick Pohl, Dr. Jerry Purnell, Tim Powers, Mike Resnick, Christine Catherine Rush, Robert J. Sawyer, Charles Sheffield, Robert Silverberg, Dean Wesley Smith, Theodore Sturgeon, K.D. Wentworth, Sean Williams, Jack Williamson, Dave Wolverton, and Roger Zelazny. And the judges for the Illustrators of the Future contest are Ed Cartier, Robert Castillo, Vincent D. Fate, Diane and Leo Dillon, Dave Dorman, Bob Eggleton, Will Eisner, Frank Frazetta, Frank Kelly Fries, Laura Brodian Fries Baraha, Stephen Hickman, Jack Kirby, Paul Lear, Ron Lindan, Val Leakey Lindan, Stefan Martiniere, Gary Meyer, Judith Miller, Sean Giroux Mobius, Cliff Nielsen, Sergei Poyakov, Sean Tan, H.R. Van Dongen, and Stephen Ewell. Now, will those judges who are with us tonight please stand up to be acknowledged? I would additionally like to acknowledge several distinguished guests who are joining us as award presenters. Please hold your applause until all are announced. Nancy Cartwright is a film and television actress and voice artist, best known as the voice of Bart Simpson on television's longest-running scripted show, The Simpsons. Award-winning film and television actress Marisol Nichols has starred in 7 network television series for NBC, CBS, ABC, and Fox. Aramis Knight is a film and television actor who plays the role of Bean in the upcoming feature film Ender's Game, releasing in November. Kylan Rambo is also a film and television actor who can be seen in The First Family. Kylan is also in the Ender's Game film playing the character Dink. And singer, songwriter, and model Kimberly Locke from American Idol Season 2 co-wrote the opening number she just performed for you. Let's give them all a warm welcome. We are here tonight to introduce a new generation of artists to the world, many of whom will follow in the footsteps of our past winners and go on to have professional and highly successful careers. After nearly 3 decades of discovering and fostering over 600 artists and writers, the results of the contest grow exponentially. 2012 was no exception. We had another banner year in the epic saga of the mainstay and success of this, the American Idol of writers and illustrators. Immediately after last year's award ceremony, we had national and international media to announce our winners and introduce them into the world of professional artists and writers. The media covered the full range, from newspaper, print, and internet articles to podcasts, radio interviews, and TV broadcasts in Canada, the United States, China, Poland, and Australia. Finally, and if only to highlight the value of the contest, the L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future Anthology Volume 28 was awarded the International Book Award for Best Short Story Fiction, and Publishers Weekly capped its review of this volume with, "The future is in good hands." Following is but a fraction of all past winner accomplishments in 2012. Scott Frederick Hargrave, 2011 Illustrator winner, illustrated the book Indiana Horror. 2001 Illustrator winner Dwayne Harris illustrated 3 published graphic novels and authored 1. Robert Castillo, Volume 24 winner and already in the Illustrators of the Future Hall of Fame as a venerable judge, was storyboard artist on the Anger Management and the Odessa TV series, as well as on upcoming movies Love Orchard, The Angriest Man in Brooklyn, and Black Nativity. James Galindo, also Illustrator winner in Volume 24, was featured in Southwest Art, as well as American Artist. Fiona Meng of last year's contest, Omar Rayan, and Sean Tan, both of Volume 8, were all featured in Spectrum, the year's best fantasy illustrations. Winner of 2010, Tyler Carter, was a designer on the 20th Century Fox movies Ice Age, Continental Drift, and the upcoming Epic. Sean Tan, Hugo winner, Academy Award winner, and a contest judge, also published another 3 books in 2012 and won the Locust Best Artist Award. On the writer's side, last year's winner, Tom Doyle, sold his novel American Craftsman, and Scott T. Barnes is releasing his first hardcover book this month. 2010 winner Jason Fisher from Down Under sold and published a novel. 2006 winner David Sackmister published 6 novels, including 1 audiobook this past year. From Volume 27, Richard Johnson won the Jim Bain Memorial Writing Contest in 2012, and Patrick O'Sullivan just won the 2013 contest. Heather McDougall, Volume 25 winner, published her book Songs for a Machine Age at the end of 2012, and Kelly McCullough of Volume 17 released Volumes 2 and 3 of his Fallen Blade series. John Williams published the 2nd volume in the Trouble Twisters books. Nancy Farmer and Joe Beverly of 1987 both had paperback editions released of their successful hardcover titles, The Island of the Blessed and Tempting Fortune, respectively. Paula R. Stiles published The Mighty Quinn, and Aliette de Bodard published On a Red Station Drifting, and the Obsidian and Blood omnibus of her 3 Aztec noir novels based on her Writers of the Future winning story in 2007. Aliette has also been nominated for the British Science Fiction Association Award for her short story Immersion. Diana Rowland from 2006 published 1 paperback and 3 audiobooks. Eric Ritchie, 2001 winner, won 4 short story contests and published 6 short stories and 2 novels. Karen Joy Fowler from Volume 2 and Ken Liu from Volume 19 were both nominated in the World Fantasy Short Story category. The list of 2012 Nebula Award nominees had 5 Writers of the Future alumni listed: Carolyn Eves Gilman, Ken Liu, Brad R. Torgerson, Tom Crosshill, and Aliette de Bodard. In the Hugo Awards, we had 4 finalists: Jim C. Hines, Carolyn Eves Gilman, Brad R. Torgerson, and Ken Liu. Jim C. Hines won the coveted Hugo Award for Best Fan Writer, and Ken Liu's celebrated story, The Paper Menagerie, won all 3, the Hugo, the Nebula, and the World Fantasy Award. David Farland, also known as Dave Wolverton, won no less than 7 awards for his novel Nightingale, including Hollywood Book Festival Award for Best Book of the Year. Nnedi Okorafor was nominated for the Andrew Norton Award, and Brad R. Torgerson the John W. Campbell Award for Best New Writer. What you just heard is far from the complete rundown of all the published works and accomplishments in this past year. Now add to that the past 28 years of accomplishments, and this is where we stand as of 2013. All told, our 276 past illustrator winners have produced over 4,500 illustrations, 356 comic books, graced 594 books and albums with their art, and visually contributed to 36 TV series and 46 major movies. That is not to mention the over 1.3 million art prints that are in circulation from those winners. Our 348 writer winners have published 838 novels and nearly 4,000 short stories. They have produced 27 New York Times bestsellers, and their work have sold over 50 million copies. Finally, our illustrator and writer winners have gone on to take every significant award in the science fiction and fantasy universe, including the Hugo, Nebula, Astrid Lindgren Memorial Award, Emmy, and even the Oscar graces our roster of winners. While in total, they've been recognized by 60 major award committees world over. So there you have it. Almost 3 decades of discovering and fostering artists and writers and indelibly making a mark on this culture. As each year passes, the contest administration itself also undergoes changes and growth. This year, we are sad to say goodbye to illustrator judge Leo Dillon, who passed away. Leo had been illustrating for over 50 years, with his work gracing many children's books and publications. We were honored to have him serve as a judge for 14 of those 50 years, inspiring countless new artists, paying forward a full lifetime of wisdom and vision. Katie Wentworth, herself a contest winner in 1988, a contest judge since 2000, the coordinating judge for the writing contest and editor of the anthology, also passed away. A prolific short story writer, novelist, and educator, she was loved by everyone whose lives she touched. And she touched many, not only as a professional author, but also as the first reader of tens of thousands of entries to the contest in her 8 years as the coordinating judge. As we know, endings precede new beginnings, so let us now first welcome our new coordinating judge for the writer contest, Dave Wolverton. Dave was the Writers of the Future Grand Prize winner of 1986, became a multiple New York Times best-selling science fiction and fantasy author, and joined the judging panel in 1991. He also served as our coordinating judge during much of the 1990s. As such, Dave is now the first reader for story submissions and forwards the best entries to the other judges. He also edits the annual anthology and teaches the writing workshop. We are very grateful to have him on board again. His compassion and dedication to forward the legacy of the writing contest is deeply appreciated. Dave, please stand up and let's all give him another warm welcome as the Writers of the Future coordinating judge. Next, we added 2 stellar artists to our panel of judges. For the Illustrators of the Future contest, we are honored to now have Larry Elmore among us. Larry is well known for his work as a fantasy artist for Dungeons & Dragons. He has worked on Dragonlance and done artwork for dozens of magazines and book covers, and he is also a published author. Our fantastic new Writers of the Future judge is Nnedi Okorafor, an American-born author with roots in Nigeria. A Writers of the Future published finalist in 2002, she went on to publish prolifically and win dozens of honors, including the 2011 World Fantasy Award for Best Novel with her book, Who Fears Death? Please extend another warm welcome to our 2 new judges, Larry Elmore and Nnedi Okorafor. L. Ron Hubbard was, as he himself stated, first and foremost a writer with a lifelong vision and passion for the arts. He founded the Writers of the Future contest in 1983 to help discover and nurture new writers. From the very first, the mission of the contest was clear: to not only inspire authors, but to help them get well on the path to becoming professionals. And that help soon became what is now known as a most intensive week of workshops that set a standard by which others are measured. The Writers' Workshop is held in the L. Ron Hubbard Library and helmed by contest judge and lead instructor Tim Powers, who has now been joined by our newly appointed coordinating judge, Dave Wolverton. There, Writers of the Future winners acquire basics of technique as taught by our instructors, drawing from L. Ron Hubbard essays on the craft. They are also given priceless wisdom and advice from attending judges. The writers then walk the literary footsteps of searching for research in the Los Angeles Public Library, leading them down the path of true storytelling. Talking to strangers on Hollywood Boulevard, where there is no shortage of colorful characters to gather story ideas from. Then writing a story in record time, that is, with a 24-hour deadline, a feat unheard of for most beginning writers, something that they usually spend weeks or months working on. This boot camp approach gives them subjective reality on that time-honored tradition of meeting a deadline, a lesson that will serve them well for the rest of their career. The Illustrators of the Future workshop is likewise led by judges and top professionals in the field of art and illustration. In addition to instructional and practical seminars, winning artists also study essays written by L. Ron Hubbard on the subject of art. Illustrator portfolios are professionally critiqued by judges and workshop instructors who are carefully chosen for their ability to give constructive direction. The workshops lead up to the big moment when illustrators present their story art to the writers for the first time. A moment when authors and artists connect in ways not seen since the golden age of science fiction. And so the two contests dovetail, and professional as well as personal bonds are forged to bring about a new and better future through the written and visual arts. Winners are next taken on a tour of the printing plant where they view their works literally rolling off the presses. And yes, that too is a moment to remember for a lifetime. And truthfully, it's a moment most writers, even the greatest names of modern literature, rarely experience. It all then culminates with the Gala Award celebration, which I don't need to cover any further as you are all right here, right now. Quite apart from all else the founder of the contest accomplished, L. Ron Hubbard was himself an artist. He studied and examined the subject of art to resolve questions philosophers and critics had long pondered, including the role of art in our culture. His all-encompassing statement on the matter follows and says it all. The elevation of a culture can be measured directly by the numbers of its people working in the field of aesthetics. Because the artist deals in future realities, he always seeks improvements or changes in the existing reality. This makes the artist inevitably and invariably a rebel against the status quo. The artist, day by day, by postulating the new realities of the future, accomplishes peaceful revolution. L. Ron Hubbard started his professional writing career at 23 years of age, hammering out popular fiction tales in every genre in a 44th New York Street hotel at 90 words a minute. These spanned from action-adventure to mystery, westerns, and of course the genres that he eventually became most known for, fantasy and science fiction. Writing under his own and 15 different pen names, he very quickly gained experience as a writer and would altogether publish over 230 short stories and novels. And soon he was the president of the New York chapter of the American Fiction Guild. It was then he took it upon himself to mentor aspiring writers, and he consequently wrote multiple instructional essays on the subject of writing. These were originally published in writer magazines of the day, such as Author and Journalist and Writer's Review. Today, we also include one of the essays in each of the annual Writers of the Future anthologies. And as earlier covered, they are an integral part of the Writers of the Future workshops. There is Manuscript Factory, in which Ron gives a candid and enlightening essay on how the potence of economics is just as applicable to this business of writing as it is to selling goods. The articles are as relevant to aspiring writers of all genres now as they were when they were originally written and published. Then there is circulate, for a writer to circulate among strangers to conceive his story and addressing the point that sitting around bewailing a writer's lot is a very poor method of creation. Finally, there is story vitality, written in the name of turning rejection slips into acceptance checks and a definitive word on writing from experience. There are more, and as Ron Elsewhere termed it, borrowing from the bank of the world in ideas and knowledge and experience. That is, the writer who has drawn much from the world will find that his mind is filled with material that can be used to make the payments. The more the writer throws himself into debt, the more he will have with which to repay. And so it was that Mr. Hubbard, as a young man and before the advent of commercial flight, crossed the Pacific Ocean twice. It was during his travels in the Orient that he lived many an adventure, such as shopping at the thieves' market in Peking and traveling to the northern part of China, sleeping with Mongolian bandits. While enrolled at the George Washington University as a student of civil engineering, he studied atomic and molecular principles as well as Einstein's theory of relativity. He also went gold prospecting in a 6-month period in 1932 when he led a mining crew on the first complete West Indies mineralogical expedition to Puerto Rico. And finally, in the dawn of aviation, Mr. Hubbard went from flying glider planes in West Virginia to soaring with test pilots at the Boeing experimental plant in Seattle. And if ever the well ran dry from former adventures, there was always the next horizon, as you will see in this short film in which L. Ron Hubbard describes how he lived the stories he wrote.
I used to want to go out and research what I was writing about. Everybody that was connected with me at that time thought this was a horrible thing for me to do. Of course, you must realize that when I did this sort of thing, I would turn up 3, 4, 6 weeks later with nothing left of my wardrobe but a pair of gum boots and some old corduroy pants, you know. Stubble a beard. I'd gone out and lived the part, you know. I'd be in a remarkably second-hand condition, broken fingernails and all that sort of thing. You know. If you're going to write a story about logging, well, you better get in and log, man. You better get in and log. You go down and sign up on the logging crew. You know, and you decide you know all about being a sawyer now, you better be a feller. Something of that sort, so you tell some tall tales. You have to be awfully slippery, you know, to be able to do this, because it means you've got to acquire professional skill while walking up to the manager and then exhibit it after being hired. Makes for a quick study. They didn't like to see me do this. I'd just disappear out of ken. Of course, they'd worry about me and all that sort of thing. I'd come back with engine oil all over me, having been a stunt pilot for 7 weeks, you know. Write a story about it. It worried them, as one could see, but it was a dirty trick. I used to have a system of not writing about things I didn't know about. Now, I think it's a fairly good maxim. I would advise it to almost anybody.